It's Andrea, your host, and we have a very special edition today. So it's been a while. Champion Chats have has taken a little break, but we are back, and we are back with our very first guest of this series, and we started it. She was our first guest. We have the extraordinary, the author, the mother, the wife, the sister, the woman, Ebony Harvey. Everyone.
Ooh, hello, everyone. Hello. Good to be back.
So
uh,
glad to have you here.
Thank you. Happy to be here, sharing the stage with you so that we can talk about some great things.
Great thing. So Ebony looks fly, of course. Look at Ebony, got her hat on. She's got her swag together. There's a reason for that. Not that she's not fly every day, but she is coming straight from her book signing.
Ooh, yay.
Love that life.
Oh, man. Hot off the press. Hot off the press.
Yes, 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 yes. So tell us about your book signing a little bit. I know you just got home. What was the vibe? How did you feel? Were you nervous? Was this the first signing?
Ooh, okay. It was, I know a lot of people use this word, but it was surreal. It was so
Yes.
surreal. I'm still taking everything in. I had a fantastic time. I believe that everyone that came had a fantastic time. Looking out there, seeing a line of people waiting to
Yes.
get their book signed by you.
Yes.
And, I guess my adrenaline started running. I'm like, okay, you got to hurry, you got to sign. But I believe each signing was intentional.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad that I was able to have different sections within and I actually did it in media center. It was amazing. Just the feel of it, the book feel. They had other books in there, but the focus was definitely, me, the book signing. And I had areas where you could ask the author. I thought
Yes.
that was pretty cool. So I have a little mailbox and my index cards, and they were able to ask me a question. And I also had an area where it could leave a note for the author.
Mm-hmm.
And it's my book that I'm going to travel around with, where I'll allow others to leave notes within the book for me, and this will be for me to read. So there were different sections there within the venue, within the media center itself, and that was amazing. Taking pictures with each person that signed the book, and having small conversations, trying not to make it too long. With
Yeah.
those that I knew from. I mean, people came from near and I'm gonna say far,
Wow.
because some people travel 2 hours, some people traveled an hour and a half, and of course, at the time I did it, it was right in the middle of traffic, so I was like, oh, but
Yeah.
they traveled and they came and to sit with me, and I did a little reading, a little excerpt out of the book, and then I kind of stopped because I wanted people to read the book.
That's right.
So talked about, answered some of the questions that they had. So it was just the atmosphere, the environment. It was, to me, breathtaking, and I hope that what I provided for people was a sense or a place where they felt comfortable and came in and again got their book signed, but were able to mingle with others as well and just have a moment to talk with the author. I hope they felt like I was right up there with them, um,
Yeah.
when I came in. So yeah, that's how it felt to me.
Everybody's just so proud of you. Of course, they drove from near and far to come sit with the author for a moment. So, all right, let's get into this book a little bit. Of
Ooh,
course, we're teasing because you guys need to go order the book. You see it on the ticker at the bottom of the screen. Later on, I'm going to put a link for Amazon to buy the book in the comments. And we're going to put up a QR code if you want to just screenshot it and order later. Okay, so Miss Ebony lives right now in Georgia.
yes.
So do you live in the outskirts of Atlanta? Where in Georgia?
Well, believe it or not, Georgia is pretty big. But
Yeah.
I live on the outskirts of Atlanta,
Okay.
and again, I mean, for me, I feel like 30 minutes is just that small. But
Yes.
it depending on where you are, I'm definitely open to meeting, at a coffee shop or something to sign books if you are in Georgia. Also, I am doing that with some people. I'm actually meeting up with some too because they couldn't make it all the way out. Meeting up with them to get their books signed in, different places, coffee shop or library, something like that. A place where we can have a conversation about the book as well.
So the next time I'm in Atlanta, I'm just gonna pull up.
That's it. Pull up.
I'm just gonna get my book signed. That's just what I'm gonna do. Okay, so you're in Georgia now, but you lived most of your life. Well, I don't even know if that's true. You've lived a lot of your life. It started out more so in New York.
Yes, Brooklyn, New York. I was born in
You were
Brooklyn, New
born
York.
there. Okay.
I was born there. So,
Tell us about Brooklyn.
ooh,
Because those of us who've never been to Brooklyn, I mean, it seems so cool. And you got rappers and you got good food and music and hip hop. Like, what was it like growing up in Brooklyn?
I mean, okay, I'm gonna just say this. I'm gonna say that New York is the Big Apple. It is the city of dreams. It is the place where you just have to visit at least once. I'm gonna say that. Because I'm a rep, right? Now,
Mhm.
BK, growing up in Brooklyn, it for me, I mean, it was just the lifestyle. It was just what I was. I was always we move quick. We are always on the move. And that's something that to me, New Yorkers are always doing, just busy, minding your business and keeping it moving. That's what we did. And that's what I did, growing up. Of course, in doing that, going through the we called it junior high. It wasn't really middle school like we do out here in Georgia. It was junior high and then, off to high school. For me though, I traveled each time because I didn't necessarily go to school in the district where I lived. I was able to travel to go. So I went to a magnet school for middle school and then I traveled to Manhattan. I traveled what we say is Harlem. So I traveled to Harlem to go to high school and it was a train ride. It was a group of people from Brooklyn that we would travel all the way up to 135th, 100, and we would travel to go to high school. So it for me, it wasn't just staying in one local area. I mean, you had your city within your borough,
Mhm.
right? But I lived in Flatbush, right? There's Flatbush.
That.
I traveled to Farragut, found Fort Greene, that area where I went to junior high, and then I traveled to Harlem to go to high school. So it again, New York, always on the move, always moving. So I mean, for me growing up, it was just what it was, just all constant movement. Always, just trying to stay with the hustle so you don't fall
Mhm.
behind. And that's kind of what New York is.
So with
But it's a
me,
great place to visit.
and I need to go back was because I've only gone once
Mhm.
and I had my kids with me and they were young. Don't do it. I didn't get to go anywhere. I didn't get to go to all the boroughs. I only went to Manhattan, see the little tourist sites on it.
Mhm.
Anyway, I've got to go back. But something you said about keeping it moving, like that's the mentality of New York. When I read your book, I get that feel from you in the book. So, for those of you who don't know what this book is about or did not watch the first episode where Ebony shared her story, Ebony was diagnosed with breast cancer during the pandemic. And this book is about that, but it's about a lot more than that as well. So, that mentality from New York of keep it moving and we got to keep pushing, how did that translate into how you faced your diagnosis and how you attacked that?
Wow. You worded that so well. And that's exactly what I did. I don't know if you noticed it on the book, when you look at the book, there's a part that says, listening to the corner man while maximizing highs and pressing through lows. And one of the things that I do a lot, and I don't know if it's necessarily just a New York thing, but I know it's an Ebony thing, and it's when you are thrown, whatever you are thrown in life, okay, you can sit in it for a second, but you're not going to
Mhm.
stay there too long because we got to figure out what we got to do
That's
to go
right.
ahead and keep it moving.
Yeah.
What must we do? And for me, this was a okay, Ebony. It was a listening thing. I listened because I was actually in the hospital when I was diagnosed. I was in the hospital, but it was
Mhm.
surgery, and then when they came back and gave the diagnosis, I was in the hospital alone because it was 2020 and no one can be in the hospital with you.
Right. Right.
So when the doctor came in and she expressed invasive ductal carcinoma, I'm like, okay, well, what is that? And then when she broke it down to the C word, she's like, cancer. I was like, okay.
Wait a minute now.
I believe I just said, okay. And she, as a doctor, you express what it is, and then you say, okay, here are the next steps that we have for you, or we're going to set up a plan for you, and then they leave, and then you're sitting with all of that,
Yeah.
and sitting with all of that in the hospital alone, I couldn't do anything but um, listen because it was quiet, and
Mhm.
um, I heard a soft voice just say to me, "This is not unto death."
Wow.
And then for me, I said, "Okay," and that was my higher power, my Lord, my God, saying, "Hey,
Mhm.
you're going to get through this." Now, I didn't know what it was going to look like. I didn't know what was next. I just knew I was going to survive this. And if you
Yeah.
tell me, again, that could be my Brooklyn thing or my New York mentality, but if you tell me I'm going to get through it, whatever it looks like in between,
Mhm.
uh, I'm going to get through it. So I know I'm going to make it to the other side. I'm good. And
Yeah.
so that was one of the things that kept me knowing that I would get through it when I had to, when it was lows, I knew I was going to get through it. So I couldn't focus and solely stay on the low. I knew
Yeah.
I would get through it. But there were some highs though. And that's one of the beautiful things about this journey. Like in my suffering, there was so much joy there as well. Because most of the times I was going to my chemo sessions around holidays.
Mhm.
And we made the best of it. I found the joy in those moments and made it through to the other side. I'm not giving it all away. You're gonna buy your book.
I know that's right. We are teasing. You're gonna buy your book.
You can buy your book.
But so when you're talking about, your treatment and it was around the holidays sometimes. So you had some core family members
Mm.
that were your rock. They held it down.
Then
I want you to talk about your husband for a minute. Just start talk. Just say whatever you want to say. Let's hear about your husband.
let my husband, if in sickness and health had a meme, I think his face would be on it for
Mhm.
real. Because my husband, I mean, he held it together. I don't even know all of, and it's interesting because he never shared. And he may, eventually down the line, but he just held it together. I never even asked him like how did you feel going through all of this? What
Yeah.
it was all about, hey, all right, the kids were 3. He made sure that the kids never missed a meal. Of course, with the help of others, but he, the one that was in here with me, made
Yeah.
sure they were fed, made sure that they went to school, made sure that they got homework done. He held down the household. And mm, that right there is enough to be said because we have 4 children. Four
Mhm.
children. And my oldest, he didn't miss his soccer. He didn't miss soccer. The twins, they were around 3. He made sure that they just kind of still remained in their routine. And as a result of that, he held it down. He did that. He
Wow.
spoke with my sister. I'll tell you this. He did speak with my sister, and they kind of had conversation about who was going to do what. And they
Mhm.
didn't share everything with me, and they didn't have to, but they definitely worked together as a team to make sure household was held down and Ebony was held down.
Shout out to your sister too, who is mentioned a lot in the book. I know you have more than one sibling, but the the particular sibling we're talking
Right.
about who was
Right.
very involved
Who
in
was
that.
in there in there.
Yeah.
Now all of them, of course, were there sending prayers and doing what they
Yeah.
could. But she was up close and like in my face. She was
Mhm.
right there doing all the things that you're just like, oh wow, all the things a sister, I guess, would do, but she was just doing it. I mean, didn't think twice
Yeah.
about it. There were some
Yeah.
other intricate details to her role in my life too, but I'm not giving that away. So get the book.
That's
Um,
right.
but she really held it down and held it together. Again, I wouldn't know if both of them had anything where they felt like, "Ooh, I don't know," but they held it together.
They probably had their moments
I'm sure.
away from you, I'm sure.
I'm sure.
They didn't want you to see.
Right.
They might even had them together. Might have called each other like, "Whoo, today."
Look, I'm hoping that time will tell.
Yes. We need your husband and your sister on their
We
own
do. Actually, I
episode.
think we do because I would really love to
Really.
know
Yeah.
what they saw, how they felt. My sister, if I could just share this, she wrote something at the book signing. She said, "You are an inspiration to your big sis. I watched you walk through a battle with style and grace, thanking God along the way. I want to grow up to be just like you, baby sis. Love you much."
Oh man. Yeah, let them know. They just gotta do an episode. It's gotta happen.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Okay, so in the book, Ebony, you have a style of telling the story, which is I did not expect. So I just thought the book was going to be about the cancer journey, and we were just going to hear about that beginning to end. No, there's like flashbacks back into childhood. There's like stories about other things that are unrelated to, that bout with cancer. Like, how did you come up with the strategy to structure the book that way?
Ooh. Well, we're going to thank God for editors, right? We're going to thank God for editors. One, okay, let me start here. The book came about by me. I really started with just journaling. I remember saying, okay, when we start the rounds, I will, a friend of mine, a really good, close sister friend of mine, she's like, make sure you journal. She said, because then you can come back and, read later on. Because as you're going through something, sometimes if you don't document as you go through, when you pass through it
Yeah.
and you want to look back, you're like, oh, what did I do again? How did that
Right.
go? So I did. I started journaling. And as I would be taking chemo, I'll be typing. I, I talked to every nurse, every doctor, everyone that was administering treatment that day.
And wrote down
Again,
the
just
names.
yeah, I did journal, and then I think I was sitting either with Osai or I was just kind of like, I think I might need to put this into a book because the journaling became a little longer. It started so my as you type single space, like your 30 single
Mhm.
space pages turned
Right.
into 50 single space pages and then kept going. And I was like, wait a minute. And so as I started thinking through how I would do that, I remember I used to write when I was younger. I used to do poetry, and my aunt keeps saying you need to get back into that. So we might. Let's see what this goes. But she, as she was saying that I might need to go back into that, I kind of recalled and said, you know what? I remember something that I wrote before about growing up. I was in middle school, and I remember. So I went ahead and went and found that, and then I said, okay, well, wait a minute. Maybe I can go ahead and add a piece about growing up. I said, because you know what? I'm a good storyteller. Like, I feel like people from New York, we got something to say, So I said, let me go back and see if I can recall some of these moments. When you go through something to this level, I feel like your life kind of flashes before you. I don't know if it and if you're out there and you feel you went through something, as traumatic, then if you felt the same thing, let me know because I really did. I felt like my life flashed before me. And I was like, you know what? Let me get this on paper. Let me leave a legacy for my kids. Let me go ahead and just kind of
Mhm.
put this together. And so as I kept typing, the more and more things, I started remembering more and more things. They started coming back to me. The interesting thing about when you go through chemo, they do say that sometimes it gives you the foggy brain.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, I don't want to catch the foggy brain. So let me get all this out on paper now so I don't forget. So I can always look back. So somebody can look back and recall. And I can say 20 years later down the line, I remember when I went through this bout. Now I have it
Right.
documented and recorded. So it's that's really how it came about.
Okay.
And then the flow of the book then came through, editing. I actually had two editors. So shout out to both of them
Yeah.
because the first editor kind of helped me flow with the book. Like you can put all of this down. There were some things I was thinking of not putting in the book.
Mm-hmm.
And that editor was like, a friend of Rogers, by the way, let me shout it out. That editor was just like, no, you need to put this in the book. He said, well, people need to hear this. They
That's
need
right.
to know that you've been through this so that
Mm-hmm.
you can help somebody else. And I said, you know what, you're probably right. Let me go ahead and put it in there. And then as a flow went through, I started adding a little bit more things. I thought I was finished. And then the second editor came around and just kind of helped with the structure a little bit more. This editor, amazing woman. She edits dissertations, and so she can definitely, if you need, let me know. I will hook you
Mm-hmm.
up with her. Megan came around, and she just really put things in place and started flowing with me. She did say this. She said, "Do you have a timestamp?" And I told her, I said, "No." She said, "Because if you did, I wouldn't. I was not your person." And
Oh,
that's how I knew she was my person,
yeah.
because that means you're gonna take your time with my book. You're gonna
Mm-hmm.
go ahead and you're not rushing through my book, but you're really taking your time so that we
Right.
can make sure that this is a great bestseller here, right?
Yes, it is. And to that fact, I will openly admit I don't generally like to read books. I don't.
Let's keep it real.
You guys, any of my girlfriends, they've tried to get me out to read all kinds of books, be in little book clubs. I'm like, no. They want me to read The Color Purple before it comes. No, no, I'm not. I just can't. No. Um, but this book, it
Mm,
caught me from the beginning. So I was reading it at
mm,
my daughter's swim practice.
wow.
When I tell you, like the first couple of pages, like we hadn't even got to chapters yet. It was like the dedication, the acknowledgments. I'm like, I'm in a chokehold already. What's gonna happen next? Am I about to cry? I don't know.
It takes you on a journey. It takes you on a journey. And I feel like the people journeyed with me. I do have people that have read, and even the comments, the reviews on Amazon. Please check them out. If you don't believe me, read the review. And these are people that I don't often like have conversation with every day. So
Mhm.
some knew me from when I was growing up. Some people, I have a coworker that put something out there. I have someone who didn't know me but knew that their daughter, like I'm seeing reviews pop up like, oh my goodness. So hear the reviews, they are real. And they're all kind of to me saying the same thing. I went on the journey with you. I laughed, I cried,
Mm.
I heard you reading, I heard you say it's like the words were coming alive. I was
Yeah.
in the moment with you. So it's really not just about cancer. For my folks that like, oh, I don't want to hear about cancer. No,
Yes,
it
not.
really is bigger than cancer. It's
It's
about
about
that
life.
life.
Yes, it's about that life. No, like there's so many topics and it's so applicable to anybody's situation. Like there's no way you can read the book and it not apply or you not connect with
With
something
something, exactly.
in the
So
book.
someone said this, who's your targeted audience? And I said, everybody who reads it.
Hmm.
So that's my target, everybody who reads it, because everybody who reads this book will get something from it.
Totally agree. Totally agree. My little funny snippet was the reaction when you found out you're pregnant with the twin. Oh,
Ooh, baby.
oh. I said, if that's not real,
Whew.
that's real right there. Love the kids, but that's real.
That's real. Go get the book, y'all, so you can find out about the reaction. I mean, oh man, like, oh,
Oh
are you
man.
serious? Okay.
Okay, God.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to put up the QR code so you guys can screenshot this, or you can scan it now if you're able to do that while we are still here. But Ebony, I know you've had a long day. We're not going to keep you on here super long. Any final words from the author
Ooh.
to the audience? People who are thinking about buying the book, people have already bought the book. What would you like to say?
Well, first, I would like to say thank you for your purchase. Thank you so much for going out and taking a chance on, a book out there. Some of you, may know me, some of you may not. But when I came up with the title, and shout out to my homeboy, Demarcus Johnson, Red Beans and Gravy. The play on words alone kind of helped, because a lot of people can look at the title and say, "Oh, about that life." There's this thing we say, "Are you about that life?" I'm about that life, right? So you
Right,
can look at it that way, but you can also see the BOUT and know that there's a fight. So what I wanted to share was, honestly, I do talk about a fight, because in life, right? Life be life and
right.
in life, everybody will go through a fight.
Yes,
Some go through more than others, but it's how you go through the fight. And for me, it was maximizing highs and pressing through lows. And so I was able to share my story about the major fight that I went through, but the different levels of my life where there may have been, ups, downs, hills, valleys. But in all of it, I'm here today to just share, like, hey, however you go through your fight, it's your journey. No one can take that away from you. Go ahead, because everybody has a story to tell. And I'm not saying everybody can be an author, but I'm just saying everybody has something to share, and everybody has a story to tell. And I pray that my story connects with you and resonates with you somehow, some way.
yes. And I'm so grateful that we connected.
Me too.
We have a mutual friend, everybody in the audience. Shout out to Catherine Green,
Catherine.
who connected us a while back
Right.
during the time where you were considering what you were going to do as far as your treatment. Um, we are so glad that you made it to the show. I know you were rushing from the book signing. Take your hat off, go get some rest.
Woo.
But we appreciate you being here. I'm going to put the QR code up one more time. If you guys need to take a screenshot, go ahead and do that.
Now I'm gonna hold this right here, because I had a little gift for my people. I gave them a bookmark. I don't know. It's right
Oh,
there.
you want to
Damn.
do it?
Oh, yes, I did. It was amazing. I was able to sign the book and put a bookmark in there for my people. Yeah, I give out gifts.
Now, did you make the bookmark or somebody designed it for you?
Someone designed it for me. Yes. Shout out to
Nice.
Brenda Rella. Brenda
Okay.
Rella, she is on social media. Oh, let me see if I
You guys go get
can.
your products, get your stuff
Mm.
designed. All right. Well, I appreciate you hopping on here tonight.
Thank
Tell
you.
your
Thank you
husband and your
for having me.
sister.
Yes, we gonna get it. We gonna get it.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Listen to the replay. Share the replay with other
Yes,
people on YouTube and on Facebook, and we will talk to you soon.
yes, about that life, available on
Bye.
Amazon. Woo! Take care.